In this exercise, I'm going to demonstrate a slight difference between the way that Illustrator aligns live editable type as opposed to text that's been converted to outlines. Now, in many cases, the difference is extremely slight. However, it's meaningful enough in general that you should be aware of it. I've gone ahead and saved my progress so far as outlineletters.ai. And what I've done is I've taken all 32 bits of point text and converted them to outlines, and then I painstakingly have aligned every single one of the colored fills with its black border so that you don't have to, because it is mindless grunt work after all. And then I've also kept aside a pair of point text objects right there so that we can compare and contrast. Now, I was telling you in the previous exercise, you can't drag one point and snap it into alignment with another point, which is true. But you can get the letters in alignment using some of the automatic align functions here inside the Align palette. Now, if you try out what you normally use when you're working inside this palette, which is the Align Center options, if you try out horizontal Align Center and then vertical Align Center, you're not going to get a match, as we're seeing right there. So I'll go ahead and press Control-Z, Control-Z, that's Command-Z, twice in a row on a Mac. Instead, what you want to do is you want to apply horizontal align left, and then go ahead and apply vertical align top. For some reason, that works. Now, vertical align bottom does not work in this case. It gives us this effect right there because it's trying to align, I guess, the mass of the letters or something. I'm not sure exactly what it's doing. It might be a function of how this rosewood outline is built. But anyway, the vertical align top ends up working out better for us, and we do get an exact alignment of baselines at this point. Just something to bear in mind. Now let's take this pair of point text objects and move it up here so it's roughly aligned. You know, it's at least inside of the top left square. And then I'm going to shift-click on that top left square, and I'm going to click on it again to set it as the base object. Now let's go ahead and apply our center options right here. And then I'm going to click again to make it the key object. And key objects work not only for distribution, but they work for alignment as well. And now I'm going to go up to the control palette, or I could work from the align palette, doesn't matter. And I'll click on horizontal align center, and then I'll click on vertical align center. And that makes a mess of things because I didn't take care to group my point text objects in advance. So let's take care of that problem. I'll go ahead and undo those last two maneuvers by pressing Control-Z or Command-Z on a Mac twice in a row. Then I will shift-click on the square to turn it off so that it's not selected anymore. And I'll go up to the Object menu and I'll group, or press Control-G, Command-G on the Mac to group those two point text objects together. Now shift-click on that square and then click on it again to make it the key object. And now click on Horizontal Align Center, and then I want you to click on Vertical Align Center. Okay, so that's how it looks when you align live text inside of Illustrator. Let's compare that to doing the same thing with this T that's been converted to outlines. Now currently, I'll go ahead and sort of marquee around it just a little bit so I don't end up selecting this rear square right there. And that selects both of the objects. Now, this text has been converted to outlines. I need to go ahead and group these letters together so that I don't end up messing up the relative positioning of the fill and the border. So I'll go up to the Object menu and choose Group. And that's something that I'm going to have to do for all these other letters as well. And I'm going to do it for you once again so that you don't have to. I just want you to know that it is an important step. Now let's go ahead and move this guy into rough position over here. And it's being covered up by the point text letters. So I'm going to press Control-Shift right bracket or Command-Shift right bracket on the Mac in order to bring it to the top of the stack. And then I'm going to shift-click on the rear square, right there, the upper left square, and I'm going to click on it again to make it the key object, and then I'll click on Horizontal Align Center, and then I'll click on Vertical Align Center. And you can see how it is slightly different. So what happens basically here is that when Illustrator is aligning text, it's taking into account the baseline and the potential descenders and all sorts of other information that's going on with our text. Whereas when you're aligning objects, it's just factoring in the mass of the object. So you're typically going to get better alignment if you're working with text that's converted to outlines as opposed to live editable text. And that's just a general rule of thumb. But more importantly, you just need to know that you are going to get different results. In our case, we're going to be working with text that's converted to outlines, and we are going to be aligning according to the overall mass of the object. There you have it. So much minutia where align and distribute is concerned. Just fun, really super fun minutia, of course. In the next exercise, we're going to begin to solve our big word jumble.